Hey grade 4s! Today we're going to read chapter 10, Hardy Boy Adventures, Tunnel of Secrets, Deadly Indigestion. You mean the dead guy is the Admiral? I asked my brother. Frank nodded, looking every bit as surprised as I felt. You mean like the guy in the statue that fell through a giant hole in the ground this morning, Admiral? I asked again, trying to process it. That's the one, Frank said. I'm pretty sure we just solved Bayport's coldest case. All the pieces fit. The rumors, the rope from the drawing in the book, the fact that he has only 3 fingers on his left hand. I double-checked the mummy's fingers. Yep, 3, just like the Admiral. I think we finally know what happened to Admiral James T. Bryant, Frank said. Not that it does him much good now, I said. Or us either, for that matter. We still don't know why he was down here, or who killed him, or most importantly, what any of us has to do with the sinkhole or Layla. Frank was stumped too. Let's see if we could find anything on the Admiral's body that might give us more of a clue. He carefully slid the swift army blade under the collar of the Admiral's robe to pull it back. The problem was that the robe wasn't the only thing that pulled back, so did the Admiral's flesh. An awful "Maa!" escaped from the Admiral's body, along with the 200-year-old air that had been trapped inside, making it sound like he was groaning. We leaped back, Frank thrusting the blade in front of him like he was ready for a mummy attack. Thankfully, the Admiral stayed where he was. His torso had split open like a dried-out turkey, though, so we could see all the way to his spine. Frank laughed nervously and lowered the knife. I guess his flesh stuck to the robe during the mummification process. I nervously rubbed my own stomach, feeling especially grateful that I still had one, and that's when I saw it. There was something lying at the bottom of the cavity where the Admiral's stomach used to be. Hey, give me that, I said to Frank, grabbing the knife and opening the pliers. I can't believe I'm about to do this. It was badly tarnished and corroded, but there was no doubt it was the exact small-scale replica of the big bronze skeleton key that had been stolen from my bag. I held up to Frank. Whoa! It's a regular-sized version of the key to the city that the Admiral has in the statue, he said. He must have swallowed it before he died to keep whoever killed him from getting it. Talk about a last meal, I said. Lucky break for us, though. I'm getting indigestion just thinking about it, I groaned. I thought we might find a clue on his body, Frank said. I wasn't expecting to find it in his body. It must have been pretty important, I said, wrapping the key in a bandana and in my pants pocket next to the little emergency kit I carry when I go exploring. We're far below Bayport. It's not like he wound up here by accident, Frank said. I'm thinking this secret city might be more than a myth after all. Yeah, well, judging from the knife in his back, the cursed Curly was talking about might not be a myth either, I said. Just because the secret city might exist doesn't mean it's haunted, Frank said. We should try to find it as long as we're stuck down here. Too bad the Admiral didn't swallow a map along with the key, I said. I guess we're just going to keep it, Frank said, stepping deeper into the chamber. At the far end of the chamber, we found a narrow, partially concealed entrance into a larger corridor that branched off into 2 different directions. Like the chamber, the corridor had smooth walls, and I could see some of the chisel marks where it had been carved out of rock by man-made tools. I say we go left, I said, thinking about the Admiral's left hand, the fingers he lost in battle. Not that we had much choice anyway. The passage on the right was caved in. Lead the way, Frank said. It wasn't long before we stepped out of the passageway into a larger chamber with a shallow pond of clear water in the center of it. On the other side of the pond, high above the ground, was a perfectly rectangular opening. And dangling from the opening was the end of a rope ladder. I'm guessing that's not a naturally occurring rock formation, I said to my brother. Frank took another look around the cavern, and the sheer rock walls on either side looked like the only way out. It's not like we can go back the way we came. There must be some kind of crank or pulley that raises and lowers the ladder, but how do we reach it? It's got to be at least 3 or 4 stories off the ground. My headlamp threw shadows off of a few dozen fist-sized rocks that jutted out of the wall every few feet from the bottom to the top. It's a rock wall. Thanks, Captain Obvious. I know it's made of rock, but how is that going to help us reach the ladder? Frank asked. For a super smart guy, my brother can be pretty dense sometimes. No, like a rock violin call. Someone intentionally carved all these stones into the wall as hand and footholds so you can climb it, like an ancient version of the rock walls at the gym. It's not even a very difficult one. I bet I can make it to the top in no time. Frank gave me a concerned look. You sure? We don't have any safety gear, and if you fall, well... He didn't have to say the rest. There were no ropes, harnesses, or partners on the walls to spot me. Without a system to keep me suspended, there would be nothing to stop me from crushing to the ground. I was a pretty good climber, but I was still a newbie compared to the pros. I've got this, I said, trying to hide the nugget of doubt that had started to creep up on me. We had to wade across the shallow pond to reach the wall. The water wasn't more than a foot or two deep, and I could clearly see small pebbles covering the bottom. Kicking aside the pebbles, there was a concentrated circle and one that looked like a fishhook. I recognized them both from the cover of the book carried by the Admiral's statue. I hope we get a chance to tell Mr. Schneider about this, Frank said. It basically proves that the secret society he told us about was real. Unless he already knows, I pointed out. Maybe he's the one who attacked us in the library and stole the Admiral's key. Oh yeah, Frank said gloomily. It is convenient how the ghoul showed up in the library right after he walked away. Plus he knows more about the Admiral's secret past than anybody. We'll worry about that if we ever make it back to the surface, I said, handing Frank my bag alongside with my backup flashlight. I surveyed the wall before making my first move, mapping out the easiest route up to the wall to the rope ladder. Whoever made it had built it a pretty straightforward path with no more than a few feet between handholds. As long as I was careful, I would be fine. I reached for the first handhold. Good luck, Frank said soberly. Who needs luck when you got skills like mine, I said. I started climbing, using my leg muscles to propel me from one handhold to the next, taking the burden off my arms like I'd been taught. It was a pretty easy climb, no harder than any of the walls of the gym. Still, I had to be cautious. I was high enough off the ground that I couldn't just hop off if my arms got tired. One little slip and I was a goner. I was feeling pretty confident though. Then I grabbed an unusual handhold. As soon as I put pressure on it, it tilted down about an inch and I heard a strange metallic clicking sound. Rock walls aren't supposed to make metallic clicking sounds, not unless they're booby-trapped. And that is chapter 10.